Hello and welcome to CARTO Workflows. I'm really excited to walk you through our new product today, which you can find here in our CARTO workspace. We believe workflows can open up geospatial analytics to a completely new audience and leverage the power of geospatially enabled data warehouses, but without using any code in a very familiar visual interface. Once you've signed up for a CARTO account, you can go over to your workspace here. You should see workflows here in this left-hand tab. CARTO Workflows works with any of your geospatial data warehouse connections. If you need to create a new connection, you can go ahead and click a new connection here and add BigQuery, Databricks, Postgres, Redshift, or Snowflake. As of the recording of this video, we are releasing CARTO Workflows in a public beta for the CARTO Data Warehouse and for Google BigQuery. And over the coming weeks, we'll be adding CARTO Workflows support for Amazon Redshift, Snowflake, and Postgres PostGIS. Once you're ready, go ahead and click the Workflows tab here. Once you're ready to create your first workflow, you can go ahead and create that here. You have to select the connection that you want to use with your workflow, and then you can go ahead and create it. As we said, Workflows is a visual tool that allows you to create different models. You can take any data set that exists within your data warehouse connection and use that within a workflow. Over here, you'll see your components. There's two different modes, native, which will add a lot of different SQL capabilities for geospatial and for basic SQL, as well as compatibility mode, which allows you to use similar tools as you would find in other visual designing tools like Alteryx. To create a workflow, first grab a data set that you want to pull into the canvas. In this case, I'm going to pull in OpenStreetMap nodes in the United States, roughly about 26 million points. My goal of this workflow is to be able to spatially join my OSM nodes points to US counties in the United States. I'm going to go down here and grab this US counties data set as well. You can move the data sets around the canvas, but they should snap to a grid as well. As you can see here, I can open up this bottom panel and see a few different things. I can see my data table and all the affiliated columns in my data set. I can actually take a look at the data on a map. And once the workflow is running, I can actually see the SQL that's being compiled behind the scenes. Now let's build our workflow. First, I'll walk you through some of the areas where you can find these different functions. And anytime you can search the different components here to find them by name. First, you have your basic SQL functions to do everything from aggregates and common SQL functionality here. You can also run a stored procedure that exists in your data warehouse or database, or write any custom arbitrary SQL you want to as well. Next, we have our geographic tools. This includes everything from creating tile sets, spatial filters, spatial joins, and more. In the import-export pane, you can actually import data from a remote file that lives on the web. You can export and save your table, or you can send that result by email. In other components, we have some different tools for cleaning and creating new columns in your data set. Our parsers section allows you to create geometries from things like GeoJSON or geocode your data. In our spatial analysis section, you have different clustering methodologies as well as count points and polygons. That's what we're going to use for our workflow today. In spatial indices, we have operations to use quad bins and H3s. In our spatial operations sections, we have different tools for measurements and creating geometry types like concave and convex hulls. All right, let's go ahead and create our workflow. Go ahead and click on our analysis node here. First, let's connect our points data set. And we can see that this is the geometry column in our points table and in our counties data set here. As you can see, as I pull that together, our SQL is generated below, and we can go ahead and run our workflow. Now, as this workflow runs, I actually created this earlier. We can see the results of the table here. Now let's look at a few other examples of some more complex workflows. In this workflow, I pulled in data from Denver traffic accidents. Now the issue with this data is that actually my latitude and longitude column are stored in strings. So I'm going to have to correct that. So first, I change my latitude and longitude to floats. I then create a point from that data. And since I want to aggregate this data and see it in an H3, I can actually do that here. So I'm going to create the H3 from the geography point. I'm going to group that together by the H3. And I'm actually going to save that as an output table. One other feature that you can take a look at here is you can actually annotate your workflows using this button up here. You can drag this around that, rename it so you can actually understand what's going on. In our next example, I'm going to do a few different things. In this next example, I'm going to do a few different things. First, I'm going to take data from the NOAA weather warnings data set. I'm also going to pull data from the NOAA temperature forecast, which is actually a remote file. I can click this here and actually import this file and have it update every time I run the workflow. I also have a data set of Kroger stores in the United States. First, I'm going to join that to our weather warnings data set, and I can also send the results of that data alone out by email. I'm then going to drop the extra geometry column, which I no longer need, and do another join to our temperature forecast, and then save that as a table as well. So with all that done, let's take a look at the results of our different workflows that we've run in this example. Here's the results of our first workflow with the count of the OpenStreetMap nodes in the United States joined to our different counties. Over here, we have our aggregated traffic accidents in Denver, aggregated to H3 cells. And finally, our weather warnings dashboard for Kroger stores in the United States. You can see our weather warnings, our stores that are identified in a weather warning area, and all of our other stores as well. Thank you for checking out Workflows. If you have any questions, please reach out to us at any time, and we're happy to help.